vous avez sûrement entendu ce genre de phrase en anglais.
Yeah, we was real poor.
Y'all finna get it.
The plane ain't got no way.
Et vous vous êtes peut-être dit que quelque chose n'allait pas. Je sais que vous êtes un peu confus.
Yo man, there's something I ain't understanding here.
Parce que je reçois beaucoup de questions sur l'anglais afro-américain. Alors aujourd'hui, j'ai invité Daniel de la chaîne Armchair Linguist pour clarifier tout ça. Hi Daniel!
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on the channel. So before we start, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Daniel. I have the YouTube channel Armchair Linguist, where I talk about linguistics, languages, and in particular the languages that I speak and that I'm interested in, like Portuguese, Spanish, Haitian Creole, and French.
I have seen some of your videos, particularly the ones about African-American English, which I think are super interesting. So anyone watching this should go and check out Daniel's channel. All right, so what am I going to do with Daniel today? First of all, we are going to go through a bunch of clips that I think illustrate different elements of African-American English really well, and Daniel is going to give us extra information, explain what's going on. Then I want to talk about some important cultural aspects of African-American English. And finally, really important part, stick around because we are going to talk about what all of this means for you as an English learner. My first question is very simple. What is African-American English?
African-American English is basically a variety of American English that is associated with African-Americans or Black people. It originated with the slaves that were brought to the US in the South. But of course, since then, it's evolved. Since the time of slavery ending, Black folks have moved to various parts of the US. And different varieties of African-American English have also developed in the places where they settled.
So I really want to start with this clip because I feel like the conjugation angle of African-American English is really something that I get asked about a lot. Here we have an interview with Will Smith and Oprah.
I love this country, Oprah. I'm not trying to avoid my taxes. I was going to pay my taxes, Oprah.
Yeah,
you know.
I know you was.
I was.
I know you was.
But then the album flopped.
All right, what do you think what's going on here?
She uses was in a way that in standard English we wouldn't. We would say, I know you were. And one thing that we can kind of note is that both Oprah and Will Smith are known for being able to speak pretty standard general American English. And for the most part, they do. But in this clip, when Will Smith makes his first statement, he says, I was going to pay my taxes.
I was going to pay my taxes.
That gon, which is short for gonna, kind of signaled that he was speaking in a more colloquial way. It signaled kind of down to earthness. And then in kind, Oprah responded saying, I know you was.
I know you was.
I was.
I know you was.
Kind of reciprocating that down to earth kind of natural tone. It's an interesting case of how using African-American English in different circumstances can also kind of signal something about what you're trying to convey or carry across to the person you're talking to.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. I also picked up on that, like this very friendly tone from Oprah. Yeah, the rest of the interview is very serious. And yeah, it's very much in general American English, but this sort of switch over to this more colloquial, familiar way of speaking, you can really feel like the difference in register.
Yeah. And it's to be noted that obviously if someone was learning English and they were to produce the sentence, I know you was, that would be considered a mistake. And in a lot of cases, you know, people would look at that negatively or judge it. But it just goes to show that a lot of times, I mean, really all dialectal differences come down to mistakes ultimately in one way or another. That's how languages are formed and shaped. But in this case, it's something that's characteristic of this particular dialect. So when speaking in that register, speaking in that dialect, it wouldn't be considered to be a mistake.
I've got another clip. Let's have a look. This one it's not a natural conversation, but it's from a movie. But, you know, I think it's got a good talking point. So let's have a look at this next clip.
You is kind. You is smart. You is important. You is smart. You is kind. You is important. Oh, that's so good.
First of all, that was adorable.
I know.
And also, yeah, it's a very good example, both of the leveling of is, the fact that is can be used throughout the conjugations. But I think it's also a good example, too, kind of showing the history of AAVE. Like we said before, it was the slaves in the South who kind of developed this dialect. But throughout history, there's kind of been this interaction between Southern English and AAVE speakers. And we can see it kind of illustrated there, kind of how that push and pull and how those two dialects would interact with each other and kind of influence each other.
So we saw just before like was leveling in the past, and here we have the use of is in the present tense. Is it the same? Like, can I? I'm not going to do it, but could I hypothetically use is with every pronoun?
Yeah, you could use it with every pronoun. What's more common for regular sentences using to be is to drop the copula altogether.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? So you're absolutely right. We might hear a total, like, completely dropping of that verb entirely to be you smart, you kind, you important. When I did the video on Victor Wembanyama, I feel like he said something like you good.
Yeah.
So that was I feel like, okay, and very good. So there you go. That's an explanation as to why Victor dropped that is, or are, you are good, yes, or whatever. You good. Okay, very good.
see, look, wouldn't it be easier if we didn't have all these conjugations? Just we wouldn't get all caught up like that. I
want to move on now to this interview. Hot ones. We all love hot ones. Keke Palmer. I'm not sure how well known she is in France, but she's a bit of a star. And I love this episode, especially because, spoiler, they kiss at the end. In this interview, there are a couple of things that she says that I think would be really interesting to talk about.
Another non-negotiable is trying to do everything alone. You can't do nothing alone. You need to get a team with you at all times. I've got an incredible team from every different corner of anything I'm doing.
I love watching Keke Palmer talk.
I know, she's like so expressive. It's like, yeah, she takes you with her, doesn't she? Let's deconstruct this phrase. Daniel, please help me.
Of course, yeah. So here we see in the first part of the sentence, you can't do nothing alone.
You can't do nothing alone.
First of all, there's a pronunciation of can't as can't. You can't do nothing alone, which is a characteristic feature of Black English, but also the double negative. So instead of you can't do anything, where we see that reciprocal negative verb and then anything form, it's double negative, you can't do nothing. And then in the second part of the sentence, you see you need a whole team with you.
You need to get a team with you.
So instead of with, the TH is stopped, it becomes wit. So it's pronounced like a T.
Or like stopped like a T, basically.
Yeah. It stopped like a T, yeah. And then a side effect that kind of happens naturally with that is when you have a T followed by the Y sound. Pretty much any time in English, they want to tend to coalesce and become a ch. So instead of with you, it becomes with you.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't realize that. He's absolutely TH stopping. Like the same way that, for example, when we say eat, like we often say eat, we don't say eat. But we actually just stop the air. All right, another thing, I had another clip here from Keke Palmer that I really loved as well.
This flavor is really delicious.
Whoa, maybe we've stepped up our game since last time.
They were good last time. I feel like I know I'm gonna get got. It was all cute in the beginning.
You've been around the block too many times.
You set me up, Sean.
To my ear, this is what stood out here, like this get got.
I know I'm gonna get got.
Yeah. So that's a phrase that originated in Black English for sure, but has become pretty widespread, I think, in the States. Basically, it means you're gonna get your comeuppance, or there's gonna be some negative consequence to what happened. I'm gonna get got.
You know, I think it's similar to like in French, like se faire avoir, like to be had.
Yeah.
Right?
Il m'a eu.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, we see a couple of things. One, the G dropping, so to speak. So instead of setting, she says setting.
Set me up, Sean.
And then we notice that she drops the auxiliary verb. So rather than you are setting me up or you is setting me up even, it's just you setting me up. So you can drop the auxiliary verb, you can drop the R in that sentence.
Yeah, very good. That's true, right? We could also hear, going back to what we saw at the beginning, you is setting me up. Set me up, Sean. We won't talk about the spelling of Sean anyway. Not for this video. Right. Very good. Let's move on to a clip now. This is one that you sent through to me.
What is it like working with Quincy?
Oh yeah, Quincy's the man. You know, I was just telling, it's like when Quincy talks, you just gotta shut up, you know? It's like everybody just gotta shut up when Quincy's talking. So, you know, it's like, I like being around, you know, people like that. It's like, I feel like the weight isn't on me, you know? I feel like Quincy's strong and he's in my corner, so I couldn't ask for much more than that.
All right. What did we hear?
Yeah, so we heard a couple of interesting examples. A pronunciation feature is the TH stopping we talked about when he says, Quincy's the man.
Oh, yeah, Quincy's the man.
So instead of Quincy's the man, Quincy's the man. Yeah. And that goes along with the fact that the man is a Black English expression. It's obviously used more widely now, but that's where it originated, meaning someone is...
Really?
Meaning someone's important, someone's like the man. It's sort of self-explanatory at this point. And then another, shortly after that, he says, when Quincy talk, drop that third person conjugation on talk. He didn't say when Quincy talks. And what I found interesting is that both of those features and other ones we see throughout that interview come out once again when he's signaling authenticity. It feels appropriate.
Yeah, I think this point is a huge one because, of course, I get asked about this so often. Like, why has this person not conjugated the verb? But in African-American English, it's very common. Okay, so that was Will Smith. But there is someone who, someone that people like to ask me about much more frequently than Will Smith, and that is Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick is in a car with our favorite guy, Timothée Chalamet, and they are just talking about his career as an artist.
You feel like you ever let a movie be made about you, or probably too young to be thinking about that?
I don't be thinking about no documentaries.
Yeah, that's interesting. So he's using what's called habitual be. So if you notice, obviously, be there isn't conjugated.
I don't even thinking.
And it's a special usage of that verb where it's never conjugated. It always appears as be, and it has a special meaning. It refers to how things habitually are or how they usually are.
Like always true, or like a general truth.
Exactly, a general truth. He's referring here to not just one instance or not just something that he's thinking about right now, but I don't be thinking about no documentaries. So over a course of time, over the course of his life, it's not something that he thinks about. So since he's referring to like a habitual thought process or habitual actions, that's why habitual be really has to be used.
Well, we've seen so many good examples of African-American English. I feel like it's time to see some bad examples. And I want to start off with a question about Blaccent. What is Blaccent?
Yeah, so Blaccent, it's a term that's gotten more popular recently, but basically it's a way of talking about imitations of Black speech, and often bad imitations of Black speech by people who maybe aren't aware of all the rules or aren't comfortable or able to apply them naturally. So sometimes we see people speak in a way that kind of, it's a little cringy, you could say, because they're imitating it in a inappropriate way.
Daniel has some videos on this topic, which I will link in the description, of course, as well. But he has also prepared some cringy clips. Thank you very much. We love cringe. We embrace it. So let's have a look. First clip. Any introduction needed?
Yeah, so this is a clip of Olivia Rodrigo. I understand she's a popular singer these days among the youth. And we'll see how maybe how she uses some African-American features in her speech here.
Olivia Rodrigo, famously not African-American. Okay.
Correct.
I be trending. That's crazy. Yeah. Do I be trending? I don't like this Italian food. Now you don't like the Italian food. we just emotional. We just so emotional.
I know.
I'm emotional AF. It was a long ass time ago, girl. We've been apart, bro. We were just outside with the most dirty ass dresses. We found of you. Where? All right, what you want to know?
Okay.
I feel like we saw quite a few, I suppose, of the characteristics that we've already talked about. Were there any that you feel like she used incorrectly?
Yeah, so I think a lot of them were used pretty incorrectly or used in a way that sounded unnatural or cringy, like we said. But I think the one that stands out as like very clearly incorrect is when she says, she's looking at her phone and says, "We be trending."
I be trending.
She's trying to use habitual be, which is no doubt something she's heard. She's probably heard her friends use. She's heard it on TV and movies. But she's using it to talk about a specific situation that's happening in the moment where it cannot be used. So we be trending would be more appropriately used to talk about an ongoing thing. So like every time an album drops or every time I release an album, I be trending. So it's talking about an ongoing trend or an ongoing process or a habitual thing rather than something that's momentary, which is how she's using it in that clip.
She's trying to say we are trending, but that's not correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And if you were to say that in Black English, you could say we are trending, we trending, just dropping the verb altogether. But you could not say we be trending. That has a different meaning.
Fascinating. Love that. We have another clip. Thank you. Let's have a look. Okay.
I paid almost $2,000 for these pit seats. I need these pit seats. She was like, yeah, we can replace them with like balcony ticket. I was like, no, like I finna be in the pit.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's talking about pit tickets compared to balcony tickets, a little bit more relaxed.
I finna be in the pit. So this gets into what we talked about earlier, where we said that in general you can drop the to be verb in sentences in Black English, but there's one exception to that, which is that basically no one drops the first person conjugation am. So you would never just drop an am. So in this case, she's applying this rule, but overgeneralizing it in a place where it doesn't, where it's not appropriate. So she says, I finna be in the pit instead of I'm finna be in the pit.
So she needs to add here, I'm finna. Yeah, I've never said that in my life. You know, sometimes you feel something come out of your mouth. You're like, yeah, I didn't know that either. Okay, I'm finna. Okay.
It's an honor to be here for your first finna. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have to be, I'm finna. So with the other forms in the paradigm, you can drop it. So you can say, you finna be in the pit, he finna be in the pit, we finna be in the pit. So in her mind, she just extended that to I, but it came out badly.
That's so interesting. So like this one is correct. I didn't know that. Okay, so you can't drop the fascinating. I think that leads me to my next question, because I think the two examples you just shared, you know, they're quite young, the two people that we just saw. And I've definitely seen this conversation. I've read articles about Gen Z slang versus African-American English. Like, is there an overlap? Is it appropriation? What's your opinion on this?
Yeah, that's a sticky conversation. So, I mean, for as long as there's been America, I think slang and terminology that's originated with Black folks has ended up becoming popular. It's been a signal of coolness.
Gen Z slang is African-American slang. Basically, Black people start saying something, then young people think it's cool, so they start saying it, then white people say it, and then once Elon Musk says it, it's over.
Nowadays, I think the conversation has shifted because a lot of times people don't even recognize or acknowledge where those terms come from. And certain terms like, you know, fire, lit, you know, things like that Gen Z tend to use gets labeled as Gen Z slang, whereas in reality, these are terms that came from Black English. I think some of the frustration on the part of people who find this to be kind of a problematic issue is that there's not a recognition of where these things came from, and the people who are using them are sort of erasing the cultural element that comes with this language.
Yeah, it's extremely complicated and beyond the scope of this channel, but I think it's really good to talk about it so people at least understand like what's going on. So we've seen so many examples, so many clips, but for language learners, if they want to take away one thing from this video, what do you think they should remember about African-American English?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the most important things to keep in mind is that it is its own dialect that does have its own rules. So the fact that it has rules means that you can speak it incorrectly and you can speak it correctly. Even though those rules are different from the rules of standard English, it is its own coherent language system and it has its rules that are to be respected.
And what's your advice? Should learners try to speak it, try to understand it?
I would say for a learner, stick to trying to learn standard English. Try and focus on the structures and the vocabulary that are part of standard English. Since so much of popular slang or popular terminology does come from Black English, there's inevitably going to be an overlap, and some of the things you learn will be features that come from Black English. But just try and be cognizant of it and try and be respectful. Yeah, just try and follow the usage of people that you look up to, I guess.
Love that. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. Just say sorry. No one's going to hold you to a super high standard, especially when it's obvious that you are not a native speaker, I think. That's my opinion.
Yes, totally. And I think most people will be understanding of why it is that you've adopted these features, it means that either you're interested in Black culture and hip hop and whatever it is, it's gotten to you some way. So most people are understanding of why that would be the case.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for chatting with me today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Any opportunity I get to talk about this stuff, I'm happy to do it.
Thank you so much to Daniel for a lovely conversation. I hope that you learned as much as me. If you do have more questions, please leave them in the comments. I'm sure Daniel will love to respond to them. And don't forget to check out Daniel's channel as well. If you are learning English, you might like to download my resource guide from the description. And I'll see you later. Bye.